when a music library uses your song, meaning they get your song placed in a TV show, movie, or commercial, does this mean that you no longer own the song? Great question. How exactly does this work? So, Leah, when you sign with a music library, there's all different types of contracts. So when a track is placed in a TV show, nothing is changed about your contract. That is not where a switch happens. Where everything happens in terms of if there's going to be a transfer of ownership, it's going to be the day that the library accepts your album. And they say, man, Leah, you have an awesome 10, 12 tracks of this. We're going to take it into our catalog. Here's our contract. Review it. Sign it if you like it. Let's do business. Some libraries do require the transfer of ownership of the masters, the copyrights, to themselves as the publishers. Now, I know some people freak out. They run for the hills. Oh, never, never do that. I've done that so many times. I've lost count, and I've never lost an ounce of sleep. I've never lost a moment of sleep. I've never had any stress. Well, I should say in the beginning, I was a little bit worried about it. But as my career moved on, this is what helps me with that sort of a situation. If it's giving you anxiety or anybody anxiety about transferring my rights of my music forever and in perpetuity, I don't know. It is risky, of course. Like, that's all obvious that it's possible you could send them 10, 12 tracks, maybe 20 tracks, and it's in perpetuity and they own everything. You are obviously still that. I want to make sure you're clear though, that just because they own your music, they own the masters, they own the copyrights, it does not mean that you give up your royalties, right? They're now that they own the tracks, they're going to be granting you back the writer's share and maybe a part of the split the sync fees. Sometimes that's 50-50, and they might be offering you consideration fees. A lot of times if they're going to ask for the rights, that they should be offering that consideration fee. That's kind of my litmus test. If you're going to be asking for like complete control over my music, you better pay me for that, right? There's some value there, right? But they're not required to. They don't have to. There's no law that they have to, but more than likely that they will be more leaning towards that if they're asking for that. But how I get around psychologically handing ownership of my music over to a company is that I always think about what was I going to do with that music to earn income or get exposure or do anything. Like what was my other plan with this album? Was it to put it on YouTube? Was it to go maybe try to go on a tour? Was I trying to make money with it? Was I going to go try to get a publishing deal? Or what was I going to do with that music? For me personally, the answer was, I had no plans. I had no idea how I was going to monetize music. I didn't know what I was going to do with that other than it sitting on my hard drive and me hitting play for my friends and saying, look how cool I am. I make great music. That's not interesting to me. And that's not really a plan for monetizing music. So as these companies approached, or I approached those companies rather, these music libraries in my career, and they offered me these deals, I thought, okay, well, what are my other options? I can say no to them taking transfer and trying to get my music placed, but what's my alternative? And I would turn around and realize I have no alternative. I have no plan. If you have a plan, you should really consider that plan, because maybe you have a really great plan. You want to do something with that music. If you have no plan, which is probably 99% of producers, they're just like, I just hope somebody discovers my music and I get signed or something, right? We just kind of have these like lotto ideas of how we're going to succeed. So if you're in that camp and you have no plans at all, why not give somebody a shot, right? Why not put your music in the hands of somebody that can place your music and get you exposure, massive exposure potentially, and most importantly, income, sync fees, royalties, passive income, right? They need to be incentivized. Nobody's an angel on earth just doing favors for us just because they want to do it. They got to have some incentive. And the reason why they have to have ownership is so they can immediately clear your music for anybody's purposes. If they had to go to every single composer and say, hey, are you, Leah, okay with this client using it for never going to happen. You're not going to have a business. They need to be a one-stop shop where their clients can just go in and just like it's a buffet going, I like this track, I like that track, I want to take this track, I'm going to take this album, I'm going to use all those. These are all cleared, right? Yep, under our contract with our composers, these are all 100% cleared because we own the rights to the music. We can say absolutely use it however you want to. That's the kind of situation that makes us actually more money, because it reduces any friction of your tracks getting placed. I hope that sort of makes sense. So it can freak some people out, and that's why this business is not for all producers and not all songwriters or anything like that. And that's cool. Like, I'm not trying to tell you that if you don't say yes to this kind of a deal, you're a fool or you're making, no. You make your own choices. I'm just trying to explain to you how I perceive it, and if you have, like me, no other plan for what to do with your music, why not give a library a shot and see what they do with it, right?